Lukmon Abiose. Okay.
What are your reasons behind this book?
Okay, my intention is to create history, recreate history. I like to write and research about African heroic and historic adventures. So I picked interest in the Egba story of liberation and how they resettle from Ibadan, where we know as Ibadan, down to Abeokuta, where they cited Olumo Rock. So I decided to recreate this history and to tell it out for people to learn.
So do you think this book will create impact in society?
Yeah, actually, any man who forgets his past will never be able to channel a right path for the future. We are at a very terrible situation whereby history has been taken out of our syllabus. We tend not to understand the necessity for history, and that has affected our youthful upbringing. It's affected us. It disallowed us from knowing about our past, knowing about our present, and how we can rechannel the future. So it is surely a book that everyone will learn from, both old and young, and it is a book that will help to preserve African historic adventure.
So sir, can you categorically tell us how this book can be an impact?
Okay, let's say for instance, it is a story of liberation. It is a story of freedom. It is a story of independence, a story of resettlement. Look at our social, political, and economic situation in Nigeria today. The Igbos are clamoring for independence or regional governments. The Yorubas are clamoring for Yoruba nation. Just like the Egbas were able to remove themselves from the bondage of Maye and resettle independently as a nation in 1830. So when you see that Egba people were able to achieve that successfully, then it will trigger you to feel, yes, we can do it. That alone is to tell you how what impact it has, or what impact it is going to create in our present situation.
So, how long have you been on this before you published?
Actually, I resumed the research as early as 2014, and I had my first draft in early 2016. And in early 2016, it won the best play for the playwriting competition in University of Ilorin in 2016. So after then, we have been able to stage the performance for Lishabi Festival in 2018, and after then we've staged in Abeokuta on multiple occasions, and now we are publishing because we feel beyond the performance, people need to read about it.
So how old are you?
This, I will say, I've actually achieved so many things that are not absolute. This, I will say, is my greatest achievement so far, of many more. And I can't quantify my joy. Of course, joy cannot be quantifiable. It's not quantifiable. But I must say that it is the best day of my life yet.
So sir, your name is?
I am Lukmon Abiose.
Thank you, sir.
Also, the man at the center of attraction today, Lukmon Abiose, has put his 2 feet down, one in the field of education, the other in the grandstand of culture. So, he has over the years proven himself as somebody who subjects himself to a lot of mentoring. He was my student as a student of Moshood Abiola Polytechnic about 12 years ago, when at some point I was not the lecturer who taught a particular course. The lecturer in charge of that course was no more in the system. I was configured to go and mark that script. I took the marking scheme, I marked, and when I got to a particular script, I was at large. Who is this student that was writing everything that was in the marking scheme? You don't know how to deduce or reduce a mark for that kind of student. And after finishing what you have in the marking scheme, he started giving examples of book publishing as it is done in a on the field. So I went to look, I said, whose matric number ends with 419? And that was how I got to know Lukmon Abiose. Today, over the years, he has become more of a brother to me. I have found him extremely fruitful and productive. I am pleased, therefore, to recognize our co-launcher here today, who happens to be a patron figure and an advisor to that movement of creative youth set up by the author today. I'm talking about world famous Oshumare Creative Vision, OKV, that have staged several stage plays here in Abeokuta. We did some for President Olusegun Obasanjo, former president, and he has not started at all. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to celebrate one of these figures that has been his guidance over the years, Mr. Lukmon Abiose, Melon Academic. Also, as it connects to the field of professionalism, I'm pleased to recognize the chairman of NANTA Ogun State chapter in the person of Mr. Toyo Edward, Melon of University of Ilorin. When Lukmon got through, he graduated with an upper credit from Moshood Abiola Polytechnic, and it wasn't a surprise. He equals of Ilorin. Are you proud of your own here today? Who is from University of Ilorin? Thank you very much. So, at this point, I like to bring it to our understanding that we need to have a look into, with some of the things I've said, I've been able to uncover a few details about the author. But we are not here today because of the author. We are here because of the book and the work is one in the ancient historic city of Abeokuta that has been at the forefront of civilization. First in a lot of things, producing people, male and female alike, over the years, and dare say over the centuries, who have been doing significant things. The land of the Wole Soyinkas of this world. And I'm so super excited to have someone who is also into creative work, remembering the ageless medium of book. Because in this age, people say, reading culture is dying. The question that often struck me, the last time we were at Egba Forest of Wole Soyinka, I was wondering, when this generation of great writers, when they migrate, as they surely will someday, they have longevity, who are the people that are positioning themselves to take over the baton and begin to run the race? Behold, I present to you folks like Lukmon Abiose, who are doing it and are positioning themselves. So it is on that note that I will crave your indulgence, have a peep into the Olumo Shield in the Marvel Land project as written by inspiration of Almighty God by Lukmon Abiose. But just before then, permit me the luxury of quickly taking these recognitions. Lukmon Abiose has his tentacles spread out to the Lions Club, and I am so pleased and excited to have one of the Lion Club members, a very key member, Lion Alhaji Gafar Anifowoshe. A round of applause for him. When he came in, there was no roaring of lions, but the lionism in them. In lionism, sir, we serve. Yeah, you are going to serve us today, and you will serve humanity, especially with that thing in your account and in your pocket. I hope I'm not mistaken. I would also like to recognize, indeed, Lion Alhaji Gafar Anifowoshe is the vice chairman of the Aviation Union. A round of applause for him. We'll celebrate you. Let me recognize also Mr. Tohib Karim, who is the general manager of J.A. Karim Global Ventures. A round of applause for him. We celebrate you, sir. So, media, I would like you to have a short projection of what we are here to launch. The protocol people, can I have you station on this side and trying to encourage young folks like Lukmon who are doing creative things. And I represent the Center for Entrepreneurship Development or Training Extension, one of Egba's sons doing great things. One more time, I warmly today. Media, are we ready? Okay. Okay. Who will give us the goodwill message from the Honorable AKG? Anyway, right? Tí 5,000 naira lè máa jẹ́ pé tó kò mí. Over to you then, sir.
Thank you so much. The representative of the Alake of Egba land and our high chiefs present, I humbly thank you for being a part of this program and I welcome you, sirs. I want to welcome and recognize the Honorable Commissioner for Education represented. I also want to stand please on existing protocol. Please let me quickly go straight to this very short goodwill message. This address is presented at the official launch of the book, Olumo, Shield in the Marveland by Honorable Dr. Emmanuel Oluwatoyintayo, the Honorable Commissioner for Culture and Tourism. I only stand in to represent him this afternoon. Earlier on, stood on existing protocol, so I would like to say that I'm most delighted to be in your midst today at the official launch of the book and the play Olumo, Shield in the Marveland. As the ministry saddled with the main responsibility to ensure the promotion of culture and tourism in the state, the ministry is most delighted that a young man had come up with the thought to present before us a book, Olumo, Shield in the Marveland. I'm made to understand that this book has been put together having gone through a deep research of the history of especially the Egba people and how Olumo eventually came to be what it is today. I'm also aware that the young man who has put this together, Lukmon Abiose, began this research when he was in University of Ilorin for his first degree, and eventually we're here today to celebrate him. As a ministry, we are always committed to ensure the promotion of culture and tourism. And of course, in a publication like this, we are most delighted to associate with a young man who has thought it wise to bring before us and the public a book that has to do with Olumo. On this note, again, I'd like to appreciate every one of us who are here to make history. We like to understand that book reading is a culture that to a great extent is fading away mostly amongst the youth. But for someone to have thought it wise to come up with a project like this, I like to say it's a good one that you are all here to be a part of that history. And therefore, I'd like to again congratulate the young man, Lukmon Abiose, who has brought to us this book. I am made to understand too that in promoting history and in documenting history, this book will stand in gap like books like Kurumi, Ijaye, Trials of Oba Varawuma, and so many other historical plays have been promoted and published by great authors in Nigeria and across. And I'm very, very delighted that having engaged with the young man, Lukmon Abiose, he has made me to realize that this book definitely will marvel you when you read through. And it also marvels our generation because it documents history. Thank you so much for listening to this. I'm sure that at the end of the day, we will really be a part of this historical event by picking copies of this book to ensure that our history, our culture, our tradition continues to be promoted in not just the book culture, in also the culture of us being able to deliver this book to others within and outside. On a personal note, I'd like to congratulate Lukmon Abiose. This is personal because Lukman is finished from the same department where I finished from at the University of Ilorin, and it's a very beautiful one. That when I was in Olumo, as the head of Olumo, he was then researching on this book as his project. And I'm actually very, very proud that I was the contact he was given in Abeokuta when he started this research. And I'm glad to be able to say today that I could introduce him to a couple of people within their Egba chieftain that has helped to ensure that we get the best quality of this book. So I'm proud of him, and the Department of Performing Arts, University of Ilorin is indeed really proud of him. So congratulations to Lukmon Abiose, and we always wish him the very best. Thank you so much for listening, and God bless you.
Is two balls. Is OPP. Okay, back to back, I'd like to bring on our mother, who is an embodiment of representation for the Honorable Commissioner for Education, Professor Abiose Egba, who is our father in the education domain. He's a youth-friendly commissioner. Eba mi party of mama wa, wa fún wa ní bíbí message. Látọ̀dọ̀ bàbá wa ìwé, bàbá wa ọ̀dọ́ ní ẹ̀ka ètò ẹ̀kọ́. Àtẹ́wọ́ mami lẹ pa báyìí.
I bring greetings from the Commissioner for Education, Professor Abiose Egba, who would have loved to be here, but for very pressing state assignments. We have a lot of exams scheduled for next week at the Ministry of Education, and so he could not make his presence felt here today. But he has sent me to represent him. We want to appreciate the author of this book, Mr. Lukmon Abiose. Why is he appreciating him? For a long time we have realized there was a gap in the study of history, and it is just reimagined. The consciousness of the study of history is just reimagined. So we know the book will serve our learners, will help them to understand their background, their roots. Somebody like me too will have to learn from such books. So we want to appreciate everyone who has contributed to this success. We want to appreciate him, and we pray that more successes will be recorded. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you, ma'am, for that motherly message from the Honorable Commissioner for Education. Still in the mood of taking the good message, Baba. Kí ni tí ẹ rí nínú ìgbìyànjú ọmọdékùnrin tá à ń pè ní Lukmon Abiose tó fi jẹ́ kí ẹ wá síbí lónìí, àti pé lórí ìfẹ́ lọ́rìn kìnìún àwọn ọ̀dọ́ wà níbí táwọn náà máa gbọ́ kí ni àkójọpọ̀ èròǹgbà yín nípa irú tí a wá ṣe bí lónìí. Tí kí ká ṣe fíìmù kí gbogbo ẹ̀ lóhùn pé gbọ́ngbọ́n kan sí tó fi yà sọ padà tó fi dénú ìwé bàbá kí ni èròǹgbà yín, kí ni bàbá wa Láké ti ilẹ̀ Ẹ̀gbá kí ni wọ́n rò ní tẹ́ ẹ bá sọ àwọn ni wọ́n sọ. Ẹ bá mi pàtẹ́wọ́ fún àwọn bàbá. Ààrẹ o.
Kí gbogbo ọtí àwárí kí gbogbo ọtí àwárí kalẹ̀ èyí tí a wá ṣe ní gbogbo ìjà ṣe ọmọ náà Lukmon a tó ṣe lójú ìlọ́lá ọmọ tó ní ọpọlọ rẹ̀ torí láti kékeré tí bàbá ẹ̀ Alhaji Abdulrasheed Abiose tó ti bí tọ́jú tọ́ ọ̀rẹ́ ní jẹun ẹgbẹ́ bàbá ẹ̀ láti kékeré adẹ̀jọ tọ́ wọn ní ọmọ náà ní ó ní akíkanjú púpọ̀ láàrin àwọn ẹgbẹ́ tó bá ń ṣeré àbí pé wọ́n kàwé ẹ̀rí wípé ó máa ń fi sí gbogbo ìwé tó wọ́n kà. Ó lè jẹ́ ọmọ tó jẹ́ pé ó gbọ́ràn sí òbí lẹ́nu, ó ń ṣe ọmọ kọ́kọ́ rárá. Gbogbo ìwà tó dẹ̀ wọ́n láti kéré náà ló gbadé ilé ìwé gíga. Ó wá jẹ́ ọmọ tó ní ẹ̀kọ́ tó dẹ̀ ní ìgbìyànjú jẹ́ pé ìwọ̀n tó lọ sí yunifásitì àìbò tó wà ní polytechnic yìí ó wá sọ́dọ̀ mi. Ìgbà tí bàbá ẹ̀dẹ̀ kú kò fi ọ̀dọ̀ mi sílẹ̀, ó tún lọ sí University of Ilorin tó bá gbọ́lùgbé àwa gba ìmọ̀ràn àgbà. Kò sọ pé kí làwọn bàbá yẹn ń fẹ́ ṣe fún òun òkú ní bàbá wọn láyé. So ó forí pamọ́ sí abẹ́ àgbà. Ìyẹn náà ló jẹ́ kí àwa náà ní ìfẹ́ láti gbé ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ ní àrùgẹ ní agbára Ọlọ́run. Àmì náà á dẹ̀ di èèyàn ńlá lójú wa. Ẹ̀yin náà jẹ́ wà ń bí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ yìí di èèyàn ńlá o. Ó kàn jẹ́ pé ẹ máa rán aṣọ ọ̀màrò ẹ máa ń wọ̀ ní gbogbo yìí lẹ́ dìde ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ yìí di èèyàn ńlá. Yorùbá ò kí ń ránṣọ ọ̀màrò.
Bàbá mi, kípa ń jẹ́ aṣọ ìmàwọ̀.
Aṣọ yẹ máa wọ̀ ló máa fún yín lára. Òun ni wọ́n pè
aṣọ
yẹ máa wọ̀ yóò máa wọ̀ ló máa fún yín lára.
Pẹ́pẹ́pẹ́.
Tí ṣòkòtò rẹ̀ máa ṣe ṣoṣooṣo. Tí kò ní bá
ẹnu pẹ́ńsù. Aṣọ ìmàrò. Ẹ̀jẹ̀ kí nǹkan yẹn lẹ́nu. Àmúyẹn sí
kí Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí gbogbo ẹni tẹ́ ti dèyàn ńlá Ọlọ́run kẹ́kẹ́ máa bùkẹ́. Ayọ̀ iná ẹ̀ púpọ̀. Gbogbo ọmọ tẹ́ ẹ̀bí rẹ̀ máa jèrè wọn. Inú mi dùn púpọ̀ láti wá sí ilé mi. Wípé ọmọ dáadáa ni ọmọ tí mo ti torí ẹ̀ wá. Àwọn náà á dẹ̀ ní àgbàríkà. Gbogbo oúnjẹ wà bí ẹ máa bá àgbàríkà ọ̀. Thank you very much.
Ẹ ṣe wọ́n tó kásá. Mo tún ti mú yẹn sọ́wọ́ nìyí. Kò dẹ̀ wáṣọ ìmàwò mọ́.
Èyí ló wọ̀ yìí. Àràfòdà.
Àgbà òní kọ́ lórí ọ̀. Ibi tí mo kọ́ èdè dé, èmi ìmọ̀ máa ṣì. Linguistic aptitude ni mo ní. Aujourd'hui, je parle la langue française et nígbà kọ́ French débi tó lápẹẹrẹ náà la wá discover pé èdè Yorùbá wa àti French ọmọ ìyá ni wọ́n. French wọ́n pè two. Tí French yóò bá pè bàbá, yóò pè vous, ìwọ, ẹ̀yin. Ní èdè French, nígbà tí mo ṣe Alliance Française International exam, wọ́n ní àmì ohùn ọmọ ń bẹ lábẹ́ èyí tí wọ́n ń pè ní accent grave ó wà lókè. Béèyàn ò bá fi sí nígbà mo ṣe International French exam, wọ́n á bẹ̀rẹ̀ dá padà olólùlù Yorùbá. Kò sí pé mo gba lẹ́tà yẹn pé ṣùgbọ́n tí ò bá ti sámi ohùn lórí ẹ̀ bí wọ́n ti ń ṣe nínú èdè Yorùbá iná ni wọ́n ṣe nínú French. Wọ́n ló ṣe jẹ́ pé education kò mọ síbi pálí tá a bá gbà ká rìnrìn àjò.
Olumo Fatai Hadisa. Lukmon Abiose has been a friend, from time immemorial, and we actually attended Moshood Abiola Polytechnic together. So he led his set. He was a year ahead of me, and his brilliance, was all over. Every of his classmates could feel it as of then. By the time I got to the University of Ilorin, he was in 400, while I was in 100, but different departments. While he was at the Performing Arts department, I was in the English department. So he led his class at the University of Ilorin again. That should show you the culture of excellence and brilliance that is embedded in him. When I read the book Olumo, as written by Lukmon Abiose, I could see that it is a point where history met with art and culture. The book has actually bridged the gap between fact and fiction, and it is only someone who has creative excellence that could marry both together in a fascinating way. So the book is quite interesting, and I believe everyone who grab a copy of the book would have a knowledge of what it takes those who actually brought Abeokuta to the current location, what they had actually gone through. So the Okwadagba and every other thing, the war they fought, the internecine war between the Ibadan people and the Egba people, the relationship between the people from Ake, Ibara, Okeono, and lots more. So Lukmon had actually done a great job. Yes, that is actually an effort that should be commended a great deal. Coming from a youth, I think it is something that is worthwhile.
So, sir, do you think this book can make impact in our society?
Of course. The book will be of great impact because it is a form of history reawakening. You know, trying to bring the past into the present. So if you don't understand the past, there is no way you would have a full grasp of the present. And actually, things are gradually phasing out. If we do not have young author like Lukman, you know, trying to bring back history into our society, then I wouldn't know what would happen in the nearest future. So thank you very much.
Lukman Abiose is my name. Okay, Lukman Abiose is my name.
So what is your comment about this book?
The book launch, well, it's a very fantastic one, even with the title Olumo. As we all know, Morocco is one of the ancient and historic rock. And when you look at it from the angle of the history, the Egba people and the Yoruba race at large is one of the historic heritage, like a shield that each and every Yoruba race and people from Egba, they see as a common seal and they hold it in high esteem. And about the writer, Lukmon Abiose is someone I've known for like 12 years. He's such a very fantastic guy and he's a go-getter. So I wish him all the best. This is just the starting point. I pray Almighty Allah will uplift him and grant him more success. Thank you very much.
Everyone. Okay, àwọn bàbá wa. Ó ṣe kábíyèsí fọ́rí adé. Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ kẹ́pẹ́ fún wa. Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ kí àárín pẹ́. Aṣọ yìí Ọlọ́run ò ní jẹ́ kó fàya. Ọlọ́run ọba tí ó jẹ́ ká máa rí bí ẹ̀ ń fà wá lọ́wọ́. Ọlọ́run ọba ò ní jẹ́ jábọ́ lọ́wọ́ yìí. Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kẹ́ fojú sunkún ẹnì kọ̀ọ̀kan wa. Also, I want to be on the existing protocol. The Honorable Commissioner for Education, represented by our dear Mumi, we are recognized, and the Honorable Commissioner for Culture and Tourism, represented by my brother, I greet you, sir. Equally, I greet each and everybody here present. Most importantly, Mr. Oronshola, Eshe Epushe, ẹ̀yin náà ni ẹni ọ̀jàjà ní tẹ́ fi ń pọn Lukman láti kékeré. Tọ́lọ́run lè jẹ́ kí ọjà náà tọ́lọ́run jẹ́ kó já. Tọ́lọ́run lè jẹ́ kó jábọ́ lẹ́yìn. Orúkọ tèmi ni Lukman Abiose. Lukman Abiose, I could say is my brother because ẹni tí èèyàn bá ti mọ̀ for more than 10 years. So there is nothing the person is doing tí ó kì í try láti carry you along. He's a listening person, and as he is, most of the time, tí bá rí Lukman, mo máa rí the brighter future in him. And because of the fact that the platform tèmi gbé dání, I'm more like a youth ambassador, because ibi tá ń gbé the streets, late Alhaji Abiose baba, because baba náà ló jẹ́ fáwọn náà, kí Ọlọ́run bá wa fi ìṣàforíjì fún wọn, Ọlọ́run bá wa fọ̀rọ̀ kẹ́ wọn. So èmi lọ rent ilé ní street here. So that's how we met in 2010. And since that time, it has been like a family affairs.
So, and I'm the advisor to the Oshumari Creative Friction, which is the group Lukman Abiose group that showcase most of the stage play township, and which also equally give back to this very book we are actually about to launch today. My prayer is that God Almighty, that have actually brought all of them together with His mercy and peace, God should not any evil person or any evil machination come into their midst. Kí Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí ògo wọn kó buyọ̀. He is one of the stars of Egba land, and my prayer is that kí Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí star yẹn ìràwọ̀ yẹn kọ́lọ́run má jẹ́ kó wọ́pọ̀ láéláé. Àmín. Kí Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí ògo ẹ̀ kó máa buyọ̀ sí. So that each and every one of us that we are here today will be proud that I remember that time that we came to launch this book, Olumo. So we appreciate each and every one of you, because as the first two representatives of commissioners have said, Nigeria of today, yes, we realize that the reading culture is being eroded, sort of. Most of our youths and our young ones, they don't want to read again. Each and everybody believes that, okay, if I want to read something, just send it to my phone. Let me be listening to it. And as people used to say, they said, if you want to hide something for Africans, write it in the book, because they believe we will not read it. So let's go back to that habit of reading. Because I could remember when we were younger, we used to go to the library. These days, if we visit any of the library today, it's very hard for us to see many young generations in the library. Those that still go to the library, they are still the older generation. So please, please and please, let us use and take this as an habit and attitude to ensure that we continue to read. Because as they used to say, knowledge is continuous. So when the ìmọ̀ òpin síbì kan, àtúmọ̀ wá ìmọ̀ kún ìmọ̀ náà ni. Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kí eléyìí kó jẹ́ òpin ìwé tó máa kọ. Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kí ó dé bẹ́ẹ̀ takú sí. Ọgbọ́n àti ìwà àtọpọlọ tọ́lọ́run fún Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kí ó jọba. Ẹ ṣé àdúpẹ́. You are welcome.
Thank you very much, sir. So kárí ayé tí wọ́n dúró sí púpọ̀tọ̀ wa ní Lion Engineer Wálé Ògúntádé, ẹ bá mi pa àtẹ́wọ́ fún ọ̀gá mi, ẹ máa bọ̀ níbí, ẹ̀jẹ̀ kọ́ má bọ̀ wá, ẹ̀jẹ̀ kọ́ má bọ̀ wá, iye ìsìnbá ẹ̀yẹ kò ní débì, iṣẹ́ yìí wọ́n fi alumni chairman Mr. Babatunde Adekunle, the CEO of Vistage Motors. Ṣé mọ́tò tá a máa fi wá àwọn òkè bíi kiri yẹn onílẹ̀ máa mú kọ́kọ́rọ́ ilé ṣe ẹ máa bọ̀ wá. Without wasting time, my duty now is to bring on the book reviewer, and just like the prayer of our mom, punchy, catchy, witty, meaty to the depth, yet succinct. Kọ̀wé ẹ ti ń pè wé nìkan ló mọ̀ ọkọ. Nígbà tí bá ń ṣiṣẹ́ lórí stage, ẹ ti ń pè nǹkan ṣo tó mọ̀ ṣe nìyẹn. Nígbà tí ó wà pẹ̀lú Saheed Òṣùpá lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lé bó ṣe ń lọ tó ń bọ̀, Saheed Òṣùpá ò lè fi ṣeré, wọ́n jẹ́ olùfilọ́lẹ̀ pàtàkì. Iṣẹ́ ti gbé wọn lọ sókè òkun, àwọn ọmọ wọn tí ẹ bá wo apá ibi tí mo wà ń bí báyìí kò ṣe yí sí yín, wọ́n ń wò wá gbogbo bá a ṣe ń ṣe ní ìlú Abẹ́òkúta ń bí, òun náà ni wọ́n connect mọ́ wa, so mo tọrọ gáfárà fún àwọn ohun tó ń já wọlé yẹn. Ẹnjìníà tó wà lórí agbègbè bíi, ẹ dákun ẹ wá bá mi mú tu ọ́díò àwọn tí ń wọlé sórí Zoom tí a jọ ń ṣètò yìí ní àgbáńlá ayé. Nípa bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn ni I bring on within the next few minutes to do justice to the review of this book written by a young author, just barely 30, and he's already doing this. Adúpẹ́ fún Ọlọ́run, adúpẹ́ fún ilẹ̀ Ẹ̀gbá. Ẹ bá mi pa àtẹ́wọ́ fún Dr. Chris
or more torture. I promise I will not waste your time. And again, too, I will try not to bore you. Just bear with me. I will start with this quotation by Marcus Garvey. People without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture, it's like a root. It's like a tree without roots. It's just apt for me to start this book review with this age-long quotation on and about history. Chiefly because Lukmon Abiose brought all of us here together this afternoon on the pedestal of history and to expose us to our history, the history of the Egbas, and specifically to intimate us of the historical facts and the adventurous journey that led to the discovery of the most revered Olumo. It is noteworthy that this book is coming out at this time in the history of education in Nigeria, now that history as a subject has just been reintroduced into our curriculum, especially in secondary school. It garners one art that our policymakers in the education sector thought it wise to correct the mistake made with the scrapping of the subject of history. This is because, as Marcus Garvey said earlier, people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture can be likened to a tree without roots. This is why one needs to appreciate the efforts of Lukman for painstakingly taking us to the past and creatively brought the past to the present for us to appreciate the efforts and the battles fought by our forefathers in making one of the prominent lands in Yoruba, Abeokuta, to be. The play, Olumo, Shield in the Motherland. I must confess that I turned down the offer of doing this, not because of lack of what to say, but because of many tasks calling for my attention all the time. But the tireless and undoubted Lukman will have none of my excuse, but rather it gave me an idea of how to schedule my own activities so as to accommodate his own program. It was when a copy of the book was given to me that I appreciated his doggedness in tying me down to do this. Why, you may ask? I was fascinated and got drawn to the title of the book because as a writer and poet, I had written a poem personally on Olumo, in one of my collection of poems, where I stated that Olumo is not a rock, but a being. And here we have Lukman describing Olumo not as a mere object, but as a shield in the Marvel land. This is going to show that I personally share the sentiment with Lukman that Olumo is more than what we think it is. Describing Olumo as a shield in the Marvel land of Abeokuta is not just appropriate, but a way of saying it the way it is. Because Olumo, as is in the play, is nothing else than a shield, a place of abode, and where to run to for safety. In a play that has the quality of being tagged as a history book, I wish I did a good job by revealing to us how Olumo was discovered. What Lukman has succeeded in doing with this play is to confirm the age-long belief that playwrights are historians and custodians of culture. Or ours. Do you think we would have known how Olumo came into existence if not for the efforts of someone like Lukman that he packaged in this valuable and historical book? We must thank him for documenting part of our histories. It has been argued, and rightly so, that one of our problems in Africa is our inability to document our history. Our failure in putting some important aspects of our life together for us and those coming behind us to read and know. And unwittingly, we left them for the white men to do this for us. For example, how can one explain the fact that Mungo Park, a Scottish explorer, traveled over land from the Ghanaian region to discover River Niger in Nigeria in 1795? The question is, why people not living where the river was discovered before they come to Mungo Park in 1795? People are living there. But because we failed to document our history, someone somewhere, another people came to take that glory away from us. And we are celebrating them sadly. Good to know that the likes of Lukman and other players like Wale Ogunyemi with his Ijayi, Olaotimi with his Kuromi, Femi Shofison with his Men of Owu, Ahmed Yerima with his Child of Obara Onabaisi, Yinka Karim with Mrs. Kuti, and now put the pens together in presenting our histories before us to appreciate, for us to know where we are coming from, and for children and children's children to be not to be oblivious of our history. As a parent and critic, I should know a well-written play if I see one. I should be able to state a play and say where it belongs to. Olumo. The play we are launching today is a play that has its set in Yoruba land. This is evidential right on the first lines in the play. The use of Yoruba proverbs, idioms, and nuances are not just rich in Yoruba culture, but which also portray the embedded beauty of the Yoruba culture is highly commendable. What is going to show and establish is the fact that playwrights are image maker of the society, as they are the ones that are making us to know about other people in terms of culture and general ways of life. The songs, dances, proverbs, and idioms are things that whoever comes across the play can easily pick up and learn something from. The proverbs and songs therefore become the appropriate vehicle with which the playwright drives home his message and add beauty to the work. The song brings us home to Abeokuta and remind us of the place of song in storytelling. The tone marks on the Yoruba words in the play make the seemingly difficult words easy to be understood. This shows the maturity of the playwright as he makes unnecessary efforts in making the play accessible to whoever comes across it, no matter the background or the level of education of the reader. Then, this goes to say that the language used in the play is lucid, simple, and without any form of ambiguity. The portrayal of war and building of conflict in the play are all an exposure of the difficult times and experiences of the warriors of Egba attraction, which we are exposed to in the course of liberating Abeokuta, the fatherland. The role of FIFA in the identification of the final destination of the Egbas shows the pivotal role of FIFA in the direction of the affairs of man. The fact that the Egbas are still comfortable in Abeokuta, with Olumo still playing his destined role of shielding the Egbas, goes to show that FIFA defined rightly the impositioning the Egbas in Abeokuta. This lays credence to the potential of FIFA in the running of affairs of man. As clear as this is, it is questionable and something to ponder on in this age and time if we are still consulting FIFA for direction. Should it be right for us to submit that Lukmon is redirecting us back to our roots as Africans? Conclusion, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. It is often said that there's a common knowledge that there's no perfect work of art. This play is not the fault that it's not entirely perfect, as there are many factors that may be responsible for the little omissions and oversights. However, it will be appreciated if any omission or error defined in the play can be forgiven as human errors that are inescapable. We should rather appreciate the effort of the young man and pat him on the back for opening us to ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, not only have I read this beautiful book, but I've studied it and I discovered that with every conviction that it's a material we all need to have as part of our collections of books, not only as Egba indigenes, but for all of us as Nigerians and Africans, for us to know part of our history. On this note, let no one leave this room this afternoon without picking at least a copy of this play. Have I bored you? If I have, please forgive me. If not, give glory to God. Thank you.
Whose review was more like he was rendering a poem. A round of applause one more time for this poetic Dr. Prince of Motosho. I celebrate you, sir. That is awesome. That is awesome. How old was he? I'm sure he wasn't 30. The Wole Soyinkas of today, as we know them, was not 30 when he actually did the jobs that got the world to notice him. And the rest is history, as they say. Chimamanda Adichie, the author of Half of a Yellow Sun, has gone around the world just by virtue of a documentation, contributes to his own immortality. When we lost the highly revered Imperial Majesty, Bami Aláàfin Ọ̀yọ́ tí wọ́n wàjà, I was monitoring on Amazon. Myself, as I stand here humbly, I became an Amazon verified author in April this year. My book that was written for a global audience was published in both paperback and ebook version April 5th. April 5th. that connected me to that. I've been doing stuff online, and when I just wrote it. I said they should publish it in ebook version. The person who was my consultant told me he has previously sent 3 books of his own. Everything was done in e-version. My own very first effort for the white man to accept to write it in paperback. It's being sold for $6 as we speak now. The e-Kindle version is sold at $3. And I monitored our Fioyo. When we got the news that Allah Waja, what really came to my mind is, I'm going Babati, because that man, you will all agree with me, was an encyclopedia of Yoruba culture.
Yes.
When an old man dies in Africa, somebody said it is like a library set ablaze. Tí àgbà kan bá lọ nílẹ̀ Áfíríkà bí ìgbà tí wọ́n kó gbogbo library kan tí wọ́n sọnà sí ni, torí ṣàṣà ni wọ́n fi ráyè download gbogbo tí ń bẹ nínú ìrírí àtọpọlọ wọn lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ documentation culture. Nígbà tí Ọlọ́run ṣe ó kù díẹ̀ ká lọ́ǹṣì bí Olúmọ yìí, òun ni màmá tí gbogbo èèyàn mọ̀ sí gbajúgbajà tí wọ́n wà lábẹ́ Olúmọ. Ìyá Olumo ni màmá náà ṣípò padà. And I'm excited that when I shared that news with Lukmon, gẹ́gẹ́ bá àwọn bàbá ṣe sọ, Ọlọ́run fẹ́ mú research dá ọmọkùnrin yẹn lọ́la àfi bíi pé wẹ́jú. Ó ní ọ̀gá, ṣé mọ̀ pé màmá yẹn wọ́n wà nínú dedication òwe òun ṣá. Mo ní ó náà wò ló pé ti pé màmá bá ó ní ẹjẹ́ kó lọ update records òun. So I'm super excited about these things. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n drop information yẹn. Ìwé tí àwọn ìgbìmọ̀ àgbààgbà ní Ọ̀yọ́ tí wọ́n kọ lórí Yorùbá culture and heritage in honor of Aláàfin tí wọ́n wàjà lórí Yorùbá, ó ti wà lórí Amazon before that time. Lẹ́yìn ìgbà tí bàbá òyìnbó increase owó automatically because they know ó ti di collectors material. Wọ́n pu dọ́là jò ni. So because I googled it, I was like, but Mutirikini tell it, just like a few months back, it wasn't this price. It has become something of value. So some of us are 1 million. Emma láǹfààní láti gba autograph copy torí pé you were part of the small history. Ibi tí wọ́n ti gbé àwọn ànábì ibi tí wọ́n ti bí Jésù, wọ́n ní kò jẹ́ ẹran ni wọ́n bí Jésù. Ṣùgbọ́n nígbà tí ó wáyà wọ́n wá lọ́wọ́ tàn káàkiri, gbogbo àwọn tá a wà mílíọ̀nù, we are proud to be part of history, and I want to emphasize that aspect so that opportunity gẹ́gẹ́ bí wọ́n ṣe fi tó mi létí o, engineer àwọn ni wọ́n ní the other aspect tí wọ́n máa fi ṣe book launch. Ibi yìí ni iṣẹ́ tèmi tá a fi rán mi ló ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ tó fẹ́ parí sí, ṣùgbọ́n kébì ó tó lọ ni mo fi sọ pé ẹ jẹ́ ká gbìyànjú láti ní this author embossed copy of this book. Kò sì sọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ nú ẹ̀ torí gbogbo nǹkan tí wọ́n àbí báàkọ́. Pleased to announce the presence of a young man who is a lover of youth, the honorable, who is in the House of Assembly. Gbogbo bí tá a bá ti káwọn ọ̀dọ́jọ́, ẹ bá mi pa àtẹ́wọ́ fún honorable. Àwọn chairman House Committee lórí abala tó kọ̀ǹgùn sí ètò tí à ń ṣe, ẹ bá mi pa àtẹ́wọ́ fún honorable lọ́sọ̀rọ̀ níwájú. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sà, ẹ sà, ẹ mọ̀ ọ́rìn gan-an, ẹ jókòó fúnra yín sà. Ẹ má bínú pé kí ẹ sọ ìjókòó fúnra yín. Ibi tẹ́ ẹ ti máa lọ́ọ̀ṣì ìwé yẹn gangan ní ẹ bá rí àwọn tí a fàṣẹ yẹn ní lọ́wọ́, òun ni wọ́n ti fẹ́ gbaṣẹ́ náà láti wá ṣe báyìí. Ibí yìí ilẹ̀ mìírí dé Olúfẹ́mi Ọ̀rúnṣọlá lóko mi, inú mi dùn láti jẹ́ ara ìtàn eléyìí tí à ń. Protocol. I have one of my checklists with you. Please, I think you will need that. In Lionism,
we serve.
Esma, kemi to ma lọ. Ẹ̀bẹ̀ kan wà tí mo fẹ́ bẹ̀ mà. Inú mi dẹ̀ dùn honorable ti wà mí. Nígbà tẹ́yìn bá gbé wájú, tẹ́yìn tẹ̀lé wọn. Honorable má bá mi fàṣẹ sí nílé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin. Ìjọ tí house gàlọ́ bá sọ pé the highs have it. Ẹ lè fọ gbogbo mọ lórí àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ lẹ́sìn bọ́sì. Ẹ bá fọ gbogbo mọ orí ẹ̀ bá yóò wà. Mo lálàlá ni mo, aláàmì sì mọ̀ ṣe. Nínú ọdún mo lè má lálà jẹ́ méjì sẹ́ẹ̀kan àbọ̀lọ́. Ṣùgbọ́n aláàmì sáà mọ̀ ṣe ṣá. Àlá tí mo wá lá inú ni pé ṣe rí ìwé Lukmon mo wá rí pé wọ́n ti fi sínú list of recommended books fáwọn ọmọ tí wọ́n fẹ́ mọ̀ ṣe exam mi wàá mọ̀ bóyá àti junior WAEC àti WAEC náà ni wọ́n fi sí o and eléyìí mo wá wò pé tálà ìbá lè ṣe inú mi ìbá máa dùn torí irú àwọn bàbá tó káwa ní polytechnic bàbá AS Ògúndìmú wọ́n ti rìtáyà ní poli báyìí bàbá ṣì ń sọ fún mi pé ibi ò lè pa wọn nítorí royalty honorarium tó ń wá lẹ́sùn tẹ́rẹ́tẹ́rẹ́ láì ṣe nǹkan kan míì látara ìwé wọn tó ti wà nínú list of recommendation níbí tó wà lọ́wọ́ so aláyẹn ni mo tí n bá rọ aláyẹn tí mo wá lọ mi ní lè sùn lálẹ́ yẹn gé gbogbo ẹ̀ má lọ́mọ lálàkàlà so ibi tí mi ò sọ ni ó ti yé àwọn máa mi ẹ wà bá ń jíṣẹ́ fún honourable commissioner ní education ní pàtàkì jùlọ àwọn ọmọ àfi wọn so nígbà tí chairman mi tán bá pẹ́ the highest habit yóò kọ̀ lọ́bẹ̀ yóò wá wà lórí wáyà yìí ǹjẹ́ bá àkọ́ àbí bá wà ẹ fílẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn èmi ti yẹ̀ bá kí ètò kó lè wá kọ́ lówó. wọ́n ní nígbà tí wọ́n ń ṣe atótónu bí a ṣe fẹ́ kán lu abala kejì yẹn kí wọ́n tó ṣe book review ọ̀kan lára àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ OKV tí a ti jọ láǹfààní ohun tí wọ́n kọ sínú ìwé yìí a ti fi ṣe stage play ní ọ̀dọ̀ bàbá Olúṣẹ́gun Ọbásanjọ́ ní OOPL amphitheatre bí ẹ̀rìn méjì fún bẹ́ẹ̀dẹ̀ bàbá Ọbásanjọ́ àti láǹfààní láti gbé wá sí cultural center láti ṣe stage play àwọn ọ̀dọ́ wà níbí lónìí tá a bá ní ká bí wọ́n ní quiz pé ta ni Ṣódẹkẹ́ kí wọ́n sọ 3 things tí wọ́n mọ̀ nípa Ṣódẹkẹ́ fún wa àfàìmọ̀ kí wọ́n má gbé gbági nígbà ẹ bá ra ìwé ẹ mọ̀ ladies and gentlemen ẹ bá mi pa àtẹ́wọ́ a máa set stage yìí on fire ní ráńpẹ́ nítorí pé it's a dramatic capturing of the momentous ladies and gentlemen ẹ bá mi ṣílẹ̀kùn protocol ẹ bá mi ṣílẹ̀kùn within few minutes 3 minutes maximum. Somebody said, I hear, I forget. I see.
Arise. My fathers. Èṣe. Upolomo insun. Lamodi, you said I would never be put to shame. You sent me on this journey. How then shall I, Oṣodeke, lead the people to the promised land? Put a warning. Is that the voice of Lamodi? Oh. Mayo, 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 lórí Olumo. Mayo, 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 lórí Olumo. Abẹ́òkúta ìlú Ẹ̀gbá, ibẹ̀ la gbé bí mi sí o, ibẹ̀ la gbé tọ́ mi dàgbà o, ilẹ̀ òmìnira ẹ kọrin máyọ̀ 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 o, lórí Olúmọ máyọ̀ o, lórí Olúmọ. Thank you, my fathers. Now this is assuring. I promise you that I, Oṣodeke, shall lead all our people to the promised land. Abeokuta, here we come. Olumo is our rock, our shield. We come.
I'm highly delighted to be standing in your presence this good evening. As earlier introduced, I'm Engineer Honorable Abiose. Mr. Abiose is my brother. We are from the same source. And by the grace of God, our fathers are here seated this evening. Because of the importance of this beautiful gathering, I want to crave your indulgence that we go the traditional and cultural way by asking for your express permission, mostly in Yoruba, which is our mother language, and then once in a while we can travel to England and speak English. Am I permitted? Thank you. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí, ó kí gbogbo wa kúrò lẹ́ o. A kú àpéjọ, a kú àpérò. Ìta wa ṣe lénìí, Ọlọ́run ò ní jẹ́ kí a ṣe lásán. Àti ẹni tá a torí ẹ̀ wá, àtàwa tá a wá, gbogbo wa pátápátá, Ọlọ́run ká jẹ́ kí a lè mú délé. I want to recognize authorities. I have been duly informed that the representative of the Honorable Commissioner for Education is here seated in the midst, and that is no other person than Mrs. Ola Ibiola. Mommy, you're welcome. We appreciate you. In the same spirit, I've been duly informed also that the Honorable Commissioner for Culture and Tourism is being represented here by Mr. Michael Ogubi. Mr. Michael Ogubi, welcome. Thank you. May I also recognize the presence of my brother, my very good brother, Honorable Yusuf Semitope Adetojo. That's the honorable member representing Abeokuta South 1 State Constituency. You're welcome, bro. Arolo. Arolo. Kashe baba. Mo fẹ́ kí àwọn bàbá wa. Bàbá tí wọ́n jẹ́ Sàgbọ́à ní gbogbo ìlú Ìjàyè. Olóyè Ọlájídé Yàyà. Wọ́n wà ní ìkàlẹ̀. Bàbá, Ọlọ́run àjọyọ̀ ayé bẹ́ẹ̀. Bákan náà, bàbá mi dáadáa, you know, this man is a very wonderful man. He's so close to my family, particularly my dad. And there's somebody that I hold in a very high esteem. He's a man that every time I see him, I see a representation of culture and a typical African gentleman. I want to greet very specially Alhaji Chief Abdulgani Babayeju, the Ààrẹ of Egba land. Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ ká rí pẹ́sà, ẹ fọwọ́ pàwọ́, ẹ fèrè ìjò, ẹ tẹ̀pá yẹn pẹ́pẹ́pẹ́pẹ́, tètè dé òní mú yín lọ. Iṣẹ́ gbogbo àwọn ọmọ yín, aṣojú yín, tẹ bá ṣe ń gbúròó wa sọ́tún, ẹ máa gbúròó wa sósìn, ẹ máa gbúròó wa sókè ọ̀yà. Àtàwọn tó jẹ́ ọmọ bíbí inú yín tó jáde lára yín, àtàwọn àtàrà tó jẹ́ ọmọ tá a kàn yín, ìwà ní gba lẹ́tà ọ̀fọ̀ lórí ẹnìkan. Bàbá, we want to appreciate you so grossly. You support us, the youth, very well. You stand by us, and like a warrior that your forefathers are, you've shown to us that you're a warrior. And we, your children, particularly your children from Ijayi, we will not relent and we shall continue to be warriors. Thank you very much. Please, a very resounding round of applause for Baba. My brother and friend is also here. It's my very good brother and friend. And in fact, I have a few of them here. Where is Toyo? Has Toyo stepped out? Okay, I have a very few of them. I have some of them here. But the one who's staring me in the face right now is Alhaji Anifowoshi. It's nice having you here. Ladies and gentlemen, nígbà tí Lukmon he's a man full of activities. And he's one young man that gbogbo wa mọ̀ wípé láìpẹ́ ọjọ́ ó máa di ìràwọ̀ tó máa tó káyé. It is about pé kí wọ́n take time kó fi grow. It's just normal way. It's going to blow. Tí bá sọ pé blow bí ti bọ́ǹbù kọ́ ìyàwó ẹ̀ máa tàn ká ní. Because his selling point is something very rare and unique. Unknown to him, personally I have plans for him, unknown to him. And let me just open a little. When I saw the film in honor of the late Olumo, I love the cast, the message, and the lead role. But for anybody who knows Olumo very well, you know that he was not well captured. There are a lot of significant tracks that he had that were not well captured. So it brings me to Afonlayo is not from the ballad. If you had been an Egba song, you would have known how best. Track, and that was his last record. And they now did a film showcasing the life and time of Olumo, and that very track never featured. It would have been a good line. But if the guys were from Egba, they probably would have gotten a better hand on it than it is. But let's give it to them, they did their best, it's wonderful. So, for somebody like Lukmon, I know in times to come, epic movies like that, Lukmon, look at me, we'll do it together, don't worry. The time is coming. Epic movies like that, we'll do it together.